So I'll start this video by showing all the different glitches that I know of in Super Mario RPG. Some of them are very useful, and some of them are completely useless. You can actually skip the first major Star Piece Guardian boss of the game. All you gotta do is walk in a straight line into the Mushroom Kingdom, hang a quick right around the Shy Star at the door, and then run inside. Then once you're in here, you gotta do 3 fairly precise jumps, and you can actually jump over an invisible wall that's supposed to guard you from the cutscene trigger. Once you do that, you can talk to the Chancellor, and that tells the game that the battle's over. So of course, all the Shy Guys still bouncing around while the Toads start rushing into the room. Looks pretty silly. Check out what happens to the star behind Mack. In the secret area where you go left, left, straight, right in the forest maze, if you go down the pipe, and you grab these chests in a certain order with a particular movement pattern, for some reason that causes this giant blob to appear on the trampoline. I don't really know why that happens, but if you jump on the trampoline, it goes away. If you jump on this yellow Yoshi's head as he's close to the exit, that actually takes you over the boundary where it makes you jump off Yoshi. And that boundary exists for a good reason, because if you go into the next room, you can't really do anything. You can't run, and you can't open the menu. The only things you can do are walk around and press A, but there's nothing to press A to interact with in this room. But it still lasts when you go back into this room as well. So I can't run. I can talk to Yoshi and he can tell me to saddle up, but I can't jump on him because the B-bun's not working. Worse yet, if you leave the area and go somewhere else, the problem still persists. Luckily, you can't corrupt your save like this, because since you can't jump, you can't get onto a save point. But it is weird. If you jump onto Yoshi at the same time that another Yoshi intersects paths with him, you both get stuck. And neither one of you can move. GG. But you can break out of this by jumping. If Mallow is dead when you advance into the second phase of the Croco 2 fight, Mallow will get bonked up right by the animation of Croco stealing your items. It looks like he's alive, but he can't be targeted and he can't be used to do any moves. If you look at the HUD where everyone's HP is, it says Mallow's fainted. And that's why he can't be used. Even though it looks like he's alive, he's actually dead. You see this a lot in speedruns. It's called the Zombie Mallow glitch. I don't actually know how this one happened. He just kind of fell down and overlapped the rocks. Even after the battle was done, he stayed where he was and dashed off into the 4th dimension. So this one is a byproduct of doing Mack Skip. When you do the Switch tutorial, there's a pre-programmed set of inputs that scroll the cursor on the menu down to where Switch is supposed to be. But because Mack Skip makes the Star Piece menu never appear, it goes one too far, thinking that this is where the Switch option is. So it takes you into your items and then tries to do the item tutorial if you skipped it. So it thinks that you're trying to select a mushroom, but it's actually selecting a pick-me-up and the menu just gets kind of confused. So if you're anything like me and you like to open menus during speedruns for no reason, this glitch is for you. When Peach appears when she jumps out of her window, open a menu, and then this happens. You know, totally normal. Nothing to see here. Shoutouts to my boy Void from the Rollin' Deep crew. We don't know how the hell this happened, and I think his reaction summarizes it quite nicely.
The fuck is going on? Was my cart tilted?
Okay, this one is pretty cool. I can open the menu and take a look at my stats. See Peach at level 9 and Mallow's at level 6? That's important to remember. So she's gonna level 10, he's gonna level 7. You open the menu when you hit the star block. Go around and get all these starfish. Getting all these level ups, because Mario's got the XP booster on, so he's gonna get quite a bit. Normally you can't open the menu during a star, but you can if it's in the first couple of opening frames. So Mario gets 3 levels here, no real big deal. Bowser levels up, Geno levels up, that's all normal. But watch what happens to Peach. Peach reaches level 7. She doesn't join your party until level 9, so her stats aren't increasing here. What is going on? Well, no more stat increases. Mallow reaches level 10. I thought he was at level 6. But he learned Shocker, that's good. Let's give him special. Why not? Okay, so what that actually did. Go to my stats. Peach is level 10. Oh, and she learned Shocker from being swapped positions with Mallow. So Mallow learned Shocker at level 10. And Peach hit level 10 and she was swapped with him and the game got confused. In the most of the stuff speedrun, you do this again in Lens End to teach Peach poison gas. You never actually use poison gas, but it's important to get it for reasons I'll explain later. So the same kind of thing happens here. You get a whole ton of level ups, you go through them. Bowser at level 12, but he was already level 12 going into that star. So what does that mean? If I open up my menu again, oh, Peach is now at level 12. Go to my status, she's also got poison gas. There it is. She's got the poison gas move. You also do this later in the game. In both the most of the stuff and the any percent speedruns, you also teach her Geno Blast, which is probably the coolest of the 3. And the most of the stuff run, you do that in Nimbus Land. Once again, open the treasure chest. Swap Geno with Peach. Run around and get a whole bunch of birds. You might think this star is short, but it actually just hits a 0 timer when you enter this particular room here. So now it loads the wrong sprite. It shows Geno hitting level 14. He's not quite ready for that yet. But he learned Geno Blast, so where does that put Peach? She learned Geno Blast. You want to do that because Peach has the most overpowered base magic stat in the entire game. She doesn't get off as magic till level 18, so it really helps. So we taught Peach Geno Blast, which costs 12 flower points. You'll see it's on the second page of spells because teaching her poison gas pushed Geno Blast onto the second page. Now you might recall that Peach's first spell on the first page, Therapy, only costs 2 FP. She turns pink here because she's not supposed to know that spell and the game doesn't know what to do with her sprite, so it turns her into Geno temporarily. Now, having a spell on the second page isn't supposed to happen, so you'll see Geno Blast at the top only costs the 2 flower points that Therapy is supposed to cost. Sometimes during invincibility stars, you'll stop moving temporarily, and no matter what you do, you can't move, just like that. The reason that happens is because the level up text has an animation, and if 2 level ups happen too close together, it doesn't let you move until one is finished. When Yaridovich clones himself and attacks your rightmost party member, Bowser's in the middle, his head disappears. So here's a clip of me doing super jumps on Jagger. This is actually a legit strat to get the super suit. That right there was just me finishing 100 super jumps. So I'm gonna run away from him, but he's gonna say something strange. He's gonna say that my record for super jumps is at 0. That can happen if you have jump shoes on, but I don't have jump shoes on. This one's silly. If you grab the rare scarf and dismiss the text box before Mario's animation is done, you just slide with the peace sign like that. If your invincibility star ends while you're in lava, Mario enters into his flaming butt animation. But when you get interrupted by a level up screen, and you go back to the game right afterwards, you now have control over Mario out of bounds, and you can use that to go through doors. You can also use it to go as far out of bounds as you want, but that doesn't really have any really useful applications. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to hold right on the D-pad for as long as I can and see how far I can go. So it just kind of looks like Mario's sliding over nothing right now. Eventually you'll notice him start to speed up because the dust under him gets further apart, just like that. All that does is it takes you to the previous room that you were in before. So I wasn't actually able to reproduce this glitch in a video just because it happens so rarely and I'm not sure what exact conditions are needed for it to happen. My friend Countdown sent me the screenshot. This happens in some speedruns where there are parts of the screen that just have random bits of purple, like on Smithy's head, on Geno's cloak, and Mario's face is a little messed up here as well. This can happen when you open and close a lot of menus, but I couldn't get it to work myself, so I'm just showing you this picture of what it looks like. You might catch it in an occasional 80% speedrun. So that's it for glitches. The next section I'm gonna do is stuff that's kinda cool, stuff that you might not have known about, but are not really like glitches. Mostly like kinda little tricks you can do in the game here and there. Some are like exploits, some are RNG manips, you'll see. If you time your inputs perfectly on this mandatory Terrapin fight, you can actually make it so that they never attack you. This is called the Zero Punch Terrapin Manip. I'm doing my attacks looking for a certain frame in their animation, and what happens is that they actually never end up attacking me because I hit them on frames where their RNG counter is at a point to not attack me. There's a guide on how to do this on smrpgspeedruns.com. SMRPG has some questionable hitboxes. One of the things you can do is you'll see a Goomba on a pink flower. You can avoid him entirely by jumping on the side of the flower to grab the chest that's up on the left. I've already got it, but you see. There's some other stuff you can do with these flowers too. The point at which you land on the flower determines what direction you face. So if you land on the bottom, you face up. If you land on the right, you face left. If you land on the bottom, you face up again. If you land on the left, you face right. That's cool because in the speedrun, you can get this character controller super fast by jumping on the left side of the flower. You can actually use an enemy that you're taking out with an invincibility star as a temporary platform. This window lasts for about 2 frames, but you'll see it in action here in Bandit's Way. There's another chest that you're normally supposed to get with platforms, but you can jump off that dog within a 2-frame window of taking it out with your invincibility star and landing on its head. That can enable you to grab that flower without having to take the platforms across. And once you get into here, Mario's suit is still sparkling. Mallow sees no problem with this. So Mario's jump here is about to do 46 damage. Now, the way that damage is calculated in this game, most of the time, is with a static formula, as in there's no RNG. But Mario's jump there just did 48 instead of 46. That's actually not RNG, because only weapons on your end have damage rolls. What's actually increasing that number is the fact that every time you use jump, it increases its attack power. So roughly every second time you use jump, you'll actually notice that the damage is increasing. So right there it did 49 instead of 48. By the end of this battle, it's going to be doing 51. This is the only attack in this game that has that property, and it caps at 255 if I'm not mistaken. It might be 250, I forget. If you get into an encounter with a Boo, or any other enemy in the game really, if you run away from them, you can jump off their head, use them as a platform temporarily while they have those iframes. In the Kuro series, you can do skips like that. Then you can do it again by running away and jumping up and grabbing that treasure chest. Later on in the game, that has Cricket Jam, or Cricket Pie, I think? Cricket Jam. By the way, it can also get you down this pipe where the Shy Away is. He's going to tell you to turn away, and it's not a bad warning considering what happens if you try to fight him. So in the corner area of Roseway, there's the two Shy Guys on the platforms. You can actually jump onto their platform without encountering them. But the first one, by the time you swing all the way to the left, he actually turns around. So even if you get onto the platform without colliding with him, he's gonna turn and collide with you anyway, so you may as well just fight this one. But the second Shy Guy platform, you can actually avoid the encounter entirely and grab the frog coin chest with a very precise jump. So you can just skip the Shy Guy by a little bit. I use this in the most of the stuff speedrun. Just like that. This serves no purpose, but in the minecart you can do this. In the Chomp room of Booster Tower, just hold left. Perspective is kind of a weird thing in isometric platforming games. During this minigame, you can stand in the corner there and they will absolutely not see you jumping around right in front of their faces. You can do this during all phases of the Snifit minigame. If you want to get into these treasure rooms but don't want to fight the Greepers, you can just walk right past them. Every single one of them. You can do that on all these doors. You can also do that with the one guarding the way to King Calamari at the end of the hall. Wait until the Dry Bones is under the block closest to the treasure chest, and then get into a fight with him. You have to fight him at least once if you want to get that 100 coin chest. But the way he's positioned, he doesn't go out far enough for you to be able to get past him entirely. So you have to fight him at least once. You'd think that you'd have to fight him once getting the chest and once getting out. And that can be the case depending on where you fight him. Where he's standing in the area. If he's standing underneath that block where I just got into this encounter with him, you don't actually have to fight him a second time with your click. So watch as I grab the chest as quickly as possible. Just grab the 10 coins. After 4 turns, Yaridovich will use Mirage Attack. They look identical. One is real, one is fake. But you can tell which one is the real one because your cursor will automatically be on him. So the top one is the real one, because that's the one that your cursor defaults to. One of the interesting things about this game is that the EXP that you get is retained even if you game over. So if I get this star here and take out all these guys, I'm gonna get a couple level ups here. So Mario grew to level 13, and Mallow grew to level 11 with that star. So after that, if I get into a fight, and I lose that fight, I can respawn where I was before, check my levels, Mario's still level 13 even though I just died, and I can get that star again if I want to. Mal's level 11, there we go. This has no real purpose, but in the Belome Temple, when you get the room that encounters the Belome fight, you have to talk to him to initiate the fight. You can do that by jumping on his head as well. So the NES Mario games are not the only Mario games with questionable Piranha hitboxes. If you jump on one of these dudes, you won't encounter it until you move or if you jump. Just like the Ghost in the Sunken Ship, you can run right past the heavy Troopas. You can also do that just by holding right until you reach the top of the staircase. When you come back to Bowser's Keep, there's this area with the 6 different doors. The arrangement of them is random. If you don't want to do a particular door, you can actually preset which ones you go to. by saving at Mario's pad and resetting your game and loading your save and walking out in that pattern, down and to the right. The RNG counter doesn't run when you're in the overworld, and the door order is set as soon as you enter Bowser's Keep. So by spending that short amount of time in Mario's pad, if you do it correctly, it's very, very, very easy to do. You can guarantee that the first 2 doors will be puzzle doors, door 3 and 6 will be battle doors, and door 4 and 5 will be action platforming doors. You can confirm that, because when I go into door number 1, it should be the Dr. Topper quiz. And there it is. If Magikoopa summons King Bomb, you may feel like attacking him, but if you defend, eventually he'll explode. So I'm going to defend and let him attack me. When he blows up, Magikoopa is no longer safe. However, Magikoopa acts a little strangely after this happens. He's not doing anything. Even when his turn comes around, he's not going to be doing a whole lot. Magikoopa is actually unable to do anything for the rest of the battle because of King Bomb exploding. This is everyone's favorite exploit. When you're fighting Exor and you disable his protection, you can start doing damage to him. However, that also removes his immunity to criticals. The next section is just Easter eggs. This is mostly stuff that doesn't really have an effect on gameplay, like it's not so much things you can do, like skipping enemies or manipulating RNG, just fun little things that the game kind of threw in there for people that are kind of looking for stuff. There's this guy behind this house in the Mushroom Kingdom. He says 4 different things to you at different points in the game. The last thing he tells you about is Star Hill. This is what happens if you jump on this energetic little kid's head. For whatever reason, they let you really get on the nerves of this particular shopkeeper. Everybody knows about this one. Peach's triple question mark in her room. If you don't have her in your party, her grandma scolds you. If you do have her in your party, then she's not too happy with you for trying to check it out. I felt like a total dick doing this at all, but it was for science. If you talk to the guy whose wallet Croco stole, and he notices that you have it and you deny to give it back to him, you can go and sell it. If you sell it or toss it for any reason, and go back to talk to him again, then, you know, he'll be throwing up those fisticuffs. This doesn't happen if you never talked to him while you had the wallet. Only if you show it to him and said no. This one was just funny. There's another hidden character. This one's behind a house in Rosetown. This one only says a couple of different things to you. There's some arrows flying around in the forest, and depending on where you stand, sometimes this can happen. There are 30 hidden treasure chests in the game, but one of them is just kind of a prank. The first of many cameos, if you sleep in Rose Town after Bowyer is defeated, you wake up to see a familiar character beside you. It's Link! And if you go and talk to him, he makes a sound that you probably recognize. This is in the Japanese version only. If you put down, up, right, left, select, start, B, then Toad appears. He says, secret code found. Now let's take a look at your status. Wow! Nothing's changed at all. But what about your experience points? Nope, nothing's changed. There's no point in looking for other codes, and the result will always be the same. I'll play with you as many times as you like, though. Secret code end. Curtains in Booster's Tower bring back 2D Mario in a 3D landscape. This only lasts until you walk up to a door, though. But if you don't go to a door, you can do it as long as you like. Booster's toy box has some more familiar faces in it. When they remove the Peach doll, you can see that there's Samus and Robin there, and what looks like a Waddle Dee. If you overstay the number of nights you paid for in the Marrymore Hotel Suite, something kinda happens. You're not gonna get away with that without getting caught. So when you try to leave, and go down to the reception area, you're blocked by the hotel manager, who tells you that you stayed too long. And if you don't have enough money to pay off all the nights you stayed extra, then you have to actually work as the hotel bellhop. So Mario gets into a walking position just like every other NPC in the game. Sometimes you get customers who just kind of waste your time and like don't actually want to stay in the suite. They're staying in the regular room. You can't really do anything while this is happening, you just kinda gotta wait for them. But then, when somebody comes in who wants to stay in the suite, you have to escort them up to the top floor. So this happens automatically, just when you mash the button. Just talk to the guest, Mario will do his thing. Show the mushroom person up to the top room, and do the little, song and dance that the bellhop did for you when you first stayed there, just jumping to indicate where everything is. Sometimes they'll give you tips. Not bad, 30 coins. You could buy a bad mushroom with that. And the guests will leave, and you say goodbye to them. And then you're off the hook once you've done that for enough guests to make up however many nights you stayed. If you take too long to retrieve Peach's things, the game goes full fanfic. Mario makes this hilarious impression of Exor with his face at 3 different points in the game. Once during the return cutscene of Peach to the Mushroom Kingdom, a second time during that same cutscene, and then later when he's falling down from Nimbus Castle. So Star Hill has wishes that are cast by everybody in Mario's universe, and it's kind of fun to guess which ones belong to whom. This one is definitely Frogfucius. That one I think is either Rainy or the mom of the fat Yoshi. That's probably Raz. That one's kind of obvious who that belongs to. That's Todovsky. That's either Johnny or the dude from Moleville. And this one's kind of spelled out for you. No wish down there. That's Chef Tort. That's Belome, for sure. There's none up there. Can't talk to the flower. Oh, that's the ultimate Easter egg. That one's from Luigi. He doesn't show up till the ending credits. Yoshi. Punchinello. Samus makes another appearance in the game. After you get the 5th star piece, but before you get the 6th one, you can backtrack to Mushroom Kingdom and go into the guest room. You'll be told our guest is sleeping, so keep quiet. Go into the room, and it's Samus! She says she's resting up from Mother Brain. Now in the Japanese version, she says something different. She says the word omoroido, which is from a commercial for Return of Samus, Metroid 2. That was at the end of the commercial. It was said something like Metroido omoroido, which just means Metroid is fun. It's just a play on words that they referenced in this game. In Monster Town, there is a dojo that Jinx owns with the letter J on the outside. After you beat Jagger and beat Jinx 3 times, they decide to make you their new sensei and start with 1,000 warm-up jumps. And when you go outside, you can see the sign has changed from J to M, from standing for Jinx to standing for Mario. If you fight the apprentices in Booster's past secret area and end up losing, they actually do get appointed as Snifit 4 or Snifit 5, 6, 7, and 8. After Snifit 8 defeats you, no more of them will appear in Booster Pass. So when you lose, they say, now I'll be Snifit so-and-so. When you climb Booster's tower, all the Snifits were there, but one of them is shunned. He only wanted 7 Snifits, but this guy thought he was gonna be Snifit 8. He's gonna go to the arcade. And these guys are all very, very proud to be the next 4. The hot springs ended up being a little too much. There's a couple more minor cameos left. In Hinopio's shop in the Barrel Volcano, he has models in the back of 2 F-Zero ships and an R-Wing from Star Fox. If you climb up Booster's tower again at the end of the game, he's found a new bride-to-be. Valentina flew the coop after Nimbus Land, and this is where she ended up. Booster is amazing. Mario's reaction here is absolutely priceless. So Gorilla's psychopath message says he doesn't want you to confuse him with Donkey Kong. But he's not really doing himself a whole lot of favors with this setup here in Bowser's Keep. It's revealed by the psychopath messages that Magikoopa in Bowser's Keep is supposed to be Kamek. In the English version, Magikoopa references Bowser by saying, "That's my child." In the Japanese version, he references Mario by saying, "Is that the baby from that time?" These are both references to Yoshi's Island. The fireworks in the ending cutscene are affected by what you buy. You can buy up to 5 fireworks from this guy in Moleville. If you do buy 5, then the firework at the end of the game will be a star. Otherwise it'll be a mushroom or a flower if you buy less than 5. The next section is about items that are kind of scattered through the game that are kind of hidden and that you have to do some silly things to do. Most of these you probably already know about, but I felt they were worth including as an addendum to the Easter egg section. There's a hidden frog coin inside of the Mushroom Kingdom that you can only get at the start of the game by jumping on top of Toad's head and grabbing the invisible chest. This is before you actually learn about invisible chests, and there's an invisible wall blocking it if you try to get it later. After you defeat Bowyer, if you go back to Rosetown and talk to Gaz, he gives you a free finger shot for Geno. He takes a shot at Mario here, and then Mallow has to hold Mario back from kind of wailing on him. It's kind of a funny little cutscene, but he does go and grabs the item to give to Geno. I included this because I love that Mario is just so peeved at the end there. To get the coin in the pipe vault, you gotta run and crouch by pressing down. This is the only point in the game where you can actually crouch. This one's not that hidden, but I just included it because it's funny. There's an item called the Lamb's Lure in the Sheep Attack, which can despawn enemies from battle. To get it, first you have to buy the mystery egg from the Toad in Moleville, which you can get later in the game. Once you get that, you go to Marymore and buy the Batub ring from the hotel. In the Japanese version, that's the Love ring. And what you do after that is you gotta equip it to Peach. Then Peach wearing that equip has to use the mystery egg 10 times in a battle. Then on the 10th time, a sheep will pop out of the egg. And the mystery egg becomes a Lamb's Lure. And when you use the Lamb's Lure, most enemies in the game are just despawned by turning into a sheep and flying away. You don't get EXP from those, but after 48 tries, it becomes a sheep attack, which does that despawn to every enemy in the fight. It doesn't work on every enemy, but it does work on most. The attack scarf and super suit you get by doing super jumps. The attack scarf is a reward you get by doing 30 consecutive super jumps, and the super suit is a reward for doing 100 consecutive. You get these items by picking them up from the dog in Monster Town in the second door. What he's saying is correct. You can't do more than 100 super jumps because the game actually caps you. If you've never gotten the super suit before, check out my tutorial on how to do super jumps. To get the Quartz Charm, you have to beat the hidden super boss Kulex. To get to his lair, first you have to buy some fireworks and trade them for a shiny stone. Then you gotta go into the third door in Monster Town and unlock it with the shiny stone being in your inventory. Go through Kulex's dialogue and accept his challenge. You don't actually need to target the crystals. If you have the super suit, the lazy shell, and the safety ring, this fight is basically free if you're even half decent at super jumping. When you actually beat him, you get a ton of experience points. And you get to hear some cameo music from the Final Fantasy series in this fight. And then you get the Quartz Charm. It gives you an instant attack and defense boost just like a Geno boost, and also prevents instant death. To get the Star Egg, you have to beat Knife Guy back in Booster's Tower a little bit later after the events of Marrymore. You have to beat him a certain number of times at his game, and then he gives you the Bright card. And the Bright card allows you to enter Great Guy's Casino. But you also have to find Great Guy's Casino. It's in the top pipe of Bean Valley. If you go into the corner by the Golden Chomp, you'll hear these noises when you jump, and then you can jump on top of the platform and leave, and that unlocks the casino. You'll only be admitted inside if you have the Bright card in your inventory, so be careful not to sell it if you want to get in here. Then you have to beat Great Guy 100 times in his Look the Other Way minigame, which is free to play. That's when he gives you the Star Egg, which just does this. Beatlemania is a game within a game that you unlock by talking to the kid holding the Game Boy in the Mushroom Kingdom Inn in the late game. You get the Lazy Shell by collecting a few kind of obscure items in the mid-game. Firstly, after you defeat Mega Smilax, a piece of paper falls down onto the bushes behind you which contains a seed. You gotta grab that seed and keep it in your inventory. Then after you beat Valentina, you gotta talk to Shyaway, who's hiding off of an invisible pathway off the side of Nimbus Land. When you talk to him, he gives you the fertilizer, and that's the second item that you need. You have to take the seed and the fertilizer to Rose Town, where a new pathway in the back of the town is now opened up that wasn't there before. This is where the gardener lives. When he realizes what you have, he goes kinda crazy. Apparently the seed and the fertilizer that you have are very, very rare. The Lazy Shell is considered by a lot of casual players to be the best equip in the game, although I personally don't think it's as good as the Super Suit. It is, however, very, very good. It increases your defense power by so much that almost no attacks will be able to permeate your defenses, except for, like, maybe Kulex's physical. It also makes you immune to ice, fire, and electric spells, and it also makes you immune to status effects. It does not make you immune to insta-death, but it's still a very, very solid item to have. However, it completely obliterates your attack power, and it also reduces your speed to 0. So if you have 0 speed, then you're guaranteed to be the last one to go in a fight. But you are going to live for a very long time. The Lazy Shell also doesn't affect item damage, so if you have the Lazy Shell and the Troopa Pin and Rock Candies, you can just deal 300 damage a turn if you want, and then you live forever. So you climb up the beanstalk, and you grab the Lazy Shell armor and Lazy Shell weapon. The Lazy Shell weapon is for Mario to use. It's his strongest base attack weapon in the game, but has very high variance. The frying pan is sold as the metal plate from the Toad in Moleville. It's Peach's final weapon. It's kind of like Mario's Lazy Shell, in that it has the highest base weapon damage, but also the highest variance as to how much RNG it can have on its damage output. The final section is just some bits and pieces of trivia of things that occur within the game. most of which is not things that you actually do in the game, but just some stuff that I thought was kind of interesting, and in the same sort of vein as Easter eggs. First up is a version difference. In the opening theme of Super Mario RPG, in the English version, Bowser is referred to as King Bowser. However, in the Japanese version, he's called King Koopa. Similarly, Toadstool in the US version is called Princess Toadstool. In the Japanese version, she's called Princess Peach. The two versions of the game also had different file select screens. The Japanese one is squares, but the long English names of files and places wouldn't fit, so it was changed to be more horizontal. The button colors from your command select are also different between the two versions. In the Japanese version, they represent the colors on the buttons of the Super Famicom controller, where in the English version, the controller buttons are purple, so the action command buttons have been changed to reflect that. Bowser's victory pose was also changed between the two versions. In the Japanese version, he's doing what looks like an up yours gesture in North American culture, so it was changed to be something a little less offensive. One of the questions that Dr. Topper asks you in Bowser's Keep is about how many legs Wiggler has. Now, if you look at the official artwork, he has 8 legs in the official model. However, his in-game sprite only has 6 legs. Sure enough, both of these answers are options for Dr. Topper's quiz question. The correct answer as determined by the game is 6. Mallow's psychopath ability shows that a lot of the monsters you meet in the game have their minds just completely elsewhere outside of the battle that they're currently doing. For example, Exor's psychopath message shows that he's thinking that he's gotta mow the lawn soon. I don't think Exor has hands, and I don't think Bowser's Keep has a lawn. Similarly, Kulex's fire crystal talks about needing to vacuum. I don't know about you, but this place doesn't look like it has a floor. The sprite for Geno's doll changes throughout the game. When you first encounter him in Rose Town as Gaz's toy, it's very small, similar to the Mario doll that you find in Booster's Tower, or the one that takes your place when Bowser throws you with Hurley gloves. However, at the end of the game, after you've defeated Smithy, the cutscene shows that the Geno doll is almost twice the size that it was before. It's got some serious gains. When Mario is knocked out by Geno's bullet, he passes out for a very long time. During the time that he's sleeping in the Rose Town Inn is when the events of Super Mario Bros. 2 take place. Okay, so that last one probably isn't true. But that was Alanim's theory from the Mario RPG IRC. I think it's a pretty fun idea. If you have any more Easter eggs or other stuff in the game that I didn't cover in this video, feel free to leave it in the comments.